Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I thought I'd show you some rare paperbacks of the Dr. Death, Operator 5, and the Spectros series, as by Logan Winters. So I'll start with the Dr. Death series, and this is a rough copy of the number 1. This is a much better copy, but I just wanted to flip through This is a series that came out in the 1930s. There were only 4 pulp magazines that featured this character. The first 3 of the pulp magazines were adventure stories. The last one was an anthology. I'll show you the interior. It is it says here copyright 1966 by Corinth Publications, Corinth Regency. But it's really originally I believe, published by Better Publications in the 1930s. And this one features it's an adventure story, talking and focused on this villain who raises these zombies to attack humankind. So, "Here I am death," he proclaimed, and the world trembled. Whatever he was, madman or avenging angel, his power was awesome. Genius in science and master of the occult. Typical of pulp magazines, a lot of these stories had wild premises. It says here, "Stalking Out of the 30s, Dr. Death" by Zorro. Now, Zorro is a pseudonym or a house name by a guy named Harold Ward. Harold Ward wrote most of the stories. And I'll show you. So this is the very fine copy. This is the next in the series. The Shriveling Murders. This is actually number 3. This is number 1. This is number 3. Again, copyright 1966. And another wild, bombastic premise. Death threatened. 4,000 years of civilization as a rampaging genius of evil launched his heinous scheme to scourge the world. Great men shrank right out of their clothes. So that's the Shriveling Murders. And the next one is really an anthology of short stories. So you have an introduction, well-written one, that gives a good presentation of the type of horror stories that were written in the pulp magazines, featuring mention of people like H.P. Lovecraft and Fritz Lieber from Gathered Darkness, which I read years ago. So there you go. The writers, some I think are pseudonyms, but Arthur J. Burks, Harold Ward, of course, Arthur Leo Zygat are familiar names in the pulp magazines. And the next one I'll show you in the series is, of course, as already shown, Operator 5, as by Curtis Steele. Now, Curtis Steele was a house name. Most of the stories were written by a fellow named Fred C. Davis. Now, this story, The Invisible Empire, you may check the blurb on the back. It talks about this ship called Atlantis that flies, quote unquote, 13 miles above And of course, those biplanes in those days couldn't fly that high, apparently. So this massive ship threatened to destroy America, and it was only until Jimmy Christopher, Operator 5, came on the scene to fight this evil threat from the invisible empire. So there you go. It says, bounding out of the 30s, Operator 5. The most successful, of course, of the Corinth Regency paperbacks, reprints of the pulps, was the Phantom Detective. And you can check out my other videos to find out more about the Phantom Detective when I talk about the pulp heroes. So that's an Invisible Empire. And this is the next one, fine copy of number 4 in the series. It's Master of Broken Men, and basically, as it says there, the bad guys basically kidnap all the leaders of the world, especially in America, and turn them into feeble-minded human beings, and try to take over the country by getting rid of these feeble-minded leaders. And of course, Jimmy Christopher, Operator 5, steps in to try to save the day. So there you go. A mysterious madman was crippling the minds of the nation's great leaders, spiriting them away under cover of grim massacres perpetrated by his hordes of near-naked black stormtroops. So there you go. Really bombastic type adventures that you read in the pulp magazines. But very fast-paced, short on characterization, and heavy on plot and adventure. And this is the first book in the series. It was published by Corinth Regency back in the 1960s, 66, I believe. And this one's Legions of the Death Master, with excellent cover, by the way. Don't know who the cover artist is, unfortunately. But it features... The Phantom Detective was, of course, their most successful series that they published. So that's Legions of the Death Master. And that one is about the so-called Yellow Empire that invades and tries to force America to surrender. They were, there you go. Next one I'm going to show you is the Spectros series, and this one is written by a guy named Logan Winters. Now, Logan Winters' pseudonym you see in many Western novels. Logan Winters is a prolific Western writer, but his real name is Paul Lederer. And I believe he also wrote under his real name. But this is an unusual series because it features this gunfighter, Kid Soledad, and this Dr. Spectros, who's really a quote-unquote master magician. It's like one blurb, one writer said, it's like Doctor Strange meets the Old West. So, which is not too far from what you read when you read the novels. So it says, Western wizardry. For years and time unknown, the master magician Dr. Spectros has pursued the evil conjurer Black Schuster. Somewhere, sometime, Black Schuster and his savage cohort abducted Spectros' only love, the beautiful Christina. They keep her in suspended sleep inside a crystal coffin. Now in the Old West, Spectros is closing in. Accompanying Spectros in his rattling medicine wagon are a slim, handsome gunslinger and ladies' man Ray Featherskill, a mute giant named Montauk, and a timeless eastern moor, Incata. There is also Spectros' magnificent silver-maned stallion, Kamsin. But Black Schuster cleverly eludes them, and Spectros is forced to use his ultimate weapon of wizardry. For short periods of time, Spectros is able to physically change himself into Kid Soledad, the king of all gunfighters, and the showdown is on. So there you go. That's Silverado. And that's the wizard in the background and Kid Soledad there front and center. They're, again, the characterization in his novels are actually quite good. And but the adventure is the focus of the stories. The cover artist is Chiato, and which looks like a moniker of some kind, but I think it might be the artist's actual real last name. Anyway, this is a fine copy of that issue of that paperback, Silverado. So that's number 1. And this is number 2 in the series. And there's Christina in her suspended animation sleep. The Oregon forest runs wild with spells as wizardry whirls and 6 guns blaze. There you go. Nice cover art, by the way. So that's number 2 in the series. Number 3 is Natchez. Evil magic lurks in the swamplands as gunfire and hellfire erupt. So that's number 3. And number 4 in the series, The Silver Canyon, features a pirate theme. Sorcery skulls the desert sands as bullets rain and arrows fly. And so in the last section here it says, then at the sight of the sunken Spanish galleon, literally heaped with sparkling silver fortune, Black Schuster storms into the conflict. Spectros transforms into the master gunfighter, Kid Soledad, and on a mesa, surrounded by savage Indians, electric magic meets flying lead in an explosive fight to the death. So this is a real unusual and really wild Western. And it's I was surprised to see that on eBay some of them go for a lot of money. They are very fast-paced reads. Again, like I said, the characterization is surprisingly evident and quite good. The stories are unusual, to say the least. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on unusual collection of paperbacks that I have, especially the Spectros series, as by Logan Winters, Paul Letterer. And if you did, remember to give me a like, comment, and thank you all for subscribing, and subscribe to watch more of my other presentations. I do a presentation on a couple of a few significant pulp heroes, mainly the Shadow, and I show in an earlier presentation almost the complete set of the Corinth Regency paperbacks featuring the Phantom Detective. So check those out as well. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.